y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, French candidates, and generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And hey, y'all, we are currently in the midst of kind of the new version of how we're going to be doing this.
Yeah,
Thanks to
that
some
new
wonderful...
Coke feel.
Yeah, well, and thanks to the medical diagnoses, we've gone from a once-a-week podcast to now bi-weekly? I don't know. How do you use bi-weekly yourself?
Oh, no. I use it as every other week and
Okay.
not twice a week.
Yeah, I've read
It's
online, like someone did a survey on Twitter and it was 50-50 exactly.
Yeah, no, it's it's the great conundrum of our time.
Yeah. So just to knock down on the confusion, it's fortnightly. We're going to be doing this podcast fortnightly, either until, health stabilizes or it becomes a paying thing. So
Right. And then we charge by the hour.
exactly, yeah. Well, and like all of our favorite podcasts are every other week, and it's not like, we get pissed off about that.
We do, but we
Yeah,
we
but
acknowledge that there are people behind those podcasts. And
yeah, I guess I more so mean it doesn't mean we stop listening. So
yes.
so that's kind of the news around here. But I did promise on the Twitters to our followers that this week is going to be a happy episode. I've stopped promising Una that. I'm now promising the general public.
Hey.
It turns out that's a promise I can keep this week. We're going to be telling an episode that is, kind of vague, is a little very sad, and then just kind of goes on the eccentric path. It gets very Gen X for the rest of the story. We are going to have a moment of brutal sadness, but it's early on and we'll move on from there.
All right. Yeah. Lay it on me. I can't wait. I love a Gen X story. These people have mortgages. I want to be them.
Yes, right? It's so I apologize ahead of time if I get this guy's last name wrong. I think I have it right. But today we're going to be talking about William Tsangares. He also goes by Billy, but we're going to be calling him by his other favorite nickname, Bill, because more often than not, that's the name I found associated him with in newspapers and for the topic that we're talking about today.
It's a fairly common nickname for a William.
Yeah. So Bill was born in Washington, D.C. in 1961, but by the age of 10, he moved with his mom to Greensboro, North Carolina. And like a lot of people talk about, that's pretty much all we know about his childhood. So that
South.
Yeah, that chapter's done. And at the age of 18, he would move to Dania, Florida, which today is known as Dania Beach, and attended Broward Community College. Now, his name would appear in the papers for the first time due to that really incredibly sad thing I was telling you about.
Oh.
So, on June 17th, 1979, in the town of Hallandale, it had been raining a lot and the pavement was very, very slick. This caused a Mercury Cougar to spin out and get rear-ended by a Toyota Corona. Behind them, a 21-year-old in an Oldsmobile slammed on the brakes, which led to the car skidding. The driver stated that he tried to change lanes, tried to turn the car, but nothing worked. The Oldsmobile plowed into the back of the Toyota, and as the 21-year-old said, as soon as he hit the Toyota, he saw nothing but flames.
Oh, God.
So this was a huge issue with a lot of cars in the late 70s, early 80s, mostly known, like with the Ford Pinto, is that if you hit them in the back just right, doesn't matter how fast you're going, it's going to break the gas tank, and there's going to be just fire everywhere. And so the way he hit the Toyota also kind of crumpled the doors, which meant that the people inside couldn't get out and no one could open the doors to get them out. And this ended up leading to the 3 people inside burning to death.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
As for Bill, he was the one person there with a camera, so he ended up taking pictures of the car while it was on fire.
After trying to help the situation?
I'm sure the way the pictures looked, it looked like it had been enough time afterwards that other people had already tried, and he was just there.
Yeah, just documenting it. Okay.
So the pictures would end up becoming very, very useful in the future legal trial that would come from this. It did take police and the fire department a bit of time to figure out who was in this car because they were kind of burned beyond recognition. But it was later found to be a trio of sisters, Denise, Pamela, and Wendy Mall, who were aged between 16 and 25.
Oh.
And so Bill's photos would be integral to the Mall family lawsuit against Toyota, where they sought $165 million in damages due to the fact that they felt Toyota probably knew about this issue with their car, but did nothing to fix it.
Take every penny.
It was about $161 million over the previous liability lawsuit against the car company, so a lot of people are taken aback by that number. But after 4 years, the courts eventually found that Toyota was liable and had knowledge of the defects, and awarded the Mall family $5 million.
I mean, can't put a price on life,
Yeah.
but ugh.
But yeah, if it helps to know too, after the 1970s, people were kind of made it an issue that maybe we should fix this. And it
Yeah.
hasn't been an issue since.
Unless you drive a Tesla.
It's oh my god. Look, the steering wheel will fall off. You might hit a kid, and your car will just stop whenever the fuck it wants. But it is not gonna catch on fire when you hit it from behind because there's no gas tank.
Yeah. Electrical sparks will just shoot out of it.
Exactly. You'll die other ways. Meanwhile, though, after this, while the trial's going on, Bill is making his way through community college. And in 1981, he would get his associate's degree from Broward Community College, and it's an associate's degree in architecture. So I'm going to ask you, Una.
Interesting.
Yeah, what do you think you can get an associate's degree in architecture?
I would imagine from there you hop on over to a bachelor's and then a master's. But then, well, okay, I will preface by saying like things might have been different back in the 70s and might have actually been affordable to go into architecture because it wasn't expected for you to like go to an architecture specific program undergrad and then assume that you would do 4 years of graduate work along with the 7 exams that you would have to do to be licensed.
Yeah, like I know today it's something that if you're willing to dive into the debt, it's kind of what you have to do if you want to get a job. But yeah, an associate's degree at that time might have been useful.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, it ended up not being for Bill. He tried to get jobs all throughout the summer, but nothing showed up. He got no offers and was kind of left with nothing to do. So with no job and very little money, Bill decided to say fuck it. And he did what most people would do in the situation. He started hopping trains.
What?
Yep.
In the 70s?
Yep, in the 70s. He started just,
That was
for
a
those of
thing
you
you could
unfamiliar,
still
hopping
do?
trains is when you find like a compartment or like I'm trying to think of what even the name of the car would be on the train. You find a car on the train that
Carriage?
usually is going to be full of stuff, and you just hop inside it and you hide away from rail agents and you just ride the train for free illegally.
To who the fuck knows?
Yeah, wherever. The train goes where it wants. It migrates north to south, east to west. Train decides.
You'll get wherever faster than you would on an Amtrak.
But yeah, it's highly illegal. During the Great Depression, there's a whole culture around it.
Right. I
with
think
Convos
everyone
and
just
things like.
associates it with the Great Depression.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah, but it's something that happened a lot during the 70s and 80s. It's something that happens a lot now with like crust punks who ride the rails and
Oh, crust punks. Yeah.
And so he starts hopping trains, and it's around Georgia. He ends up befriending a 16-year-old by the name of Graham Hacker, who's also riding the rails during his summer break between, I assume, junior and senior year.
Yeah, fuck it. Man, kids used to be wild.
I know, right? It's, internet ruined everything.
Ugh.
Instead of going to Club Penguin, I should have been hiding on fucking cabooses and shit.
Yeah.
And so the pair chat for a bit, and they eventually end up settling on the perfect destination, the 1982 World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee. And if
honestly, I think I would have chosen the same.
And if that sounds familiar, it's probably because there's a little known, or actually a very well known Simpsons episode where Bart gets a fake driver's license, and him and Milhouse, Nelson, and Martin decide ultimately what they're gonna do is go to the Knoxville World's Fair.
Yes!
It's AAA guidebook.
I've always wanted to see Macon, Georgia.
Wait, how about a fair? Not just a county fair, not just a Europe fair, but a World's Fair. The World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee. Keep reading. The Hungarians have built a giant motorized Rubik's Cube, and the fair symbol is the Sun Sphere, which sits atop a 266-foot tall steel shaft. What's inside? An information desk. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's a good episode.
Yeah, and so, the Simpsons didn't do anything to make it sound good. Yeah, it was real. 100%. It was the last World's Fair that ever got held in America. It was in Knoxville, goddamn Tennessee.
Oh, because, damn.
I mean, yeah, they're expensive, and we haven't won one in a long-ass time. I want to say the next one's either in Dubai or Tokyo. It's somewhere.
The one that just happened was in Dubai. Yeah,
okay.
That was or at least I guess that's the closest thing to a World's Fair. It was like a World's Expo.
Yeah, they call it like the Expo something now. But Bart and them end up getting there, and they find out they're about 13 years too late, and the Sun Sphere is now full of wigs. And so it's not exactly listed as one of the the coolest things. But when I actually looked into it, it's very fucking cool. I would have loved to have gone. Yes, the Hungarians did have a Rubik's Cube there, but it was the world's largest Rubik's Cube.
Oh shit.
The Japanese brought a robot who paints,
Mm.
but America, who had home field advantage, naturally knocked it out of the park. Because not only did the public get introduced to touchscreen technology for the first time ever, but they also got to find sustainable solar energy, the concept of paying for gas at the pump. Texaco, I believe, had
What?
brought a system where it's like, here's how you pay for gas at the pump without having to go inside and talk to anyone.
Literally the future that we know today was at this expo.
Yep. Ford introduced the car phone.
Oh
Kodak introduced 1 hour photo development.
my God.
But the most important thing, the biggest innovation of the 80s that was there, the premiere of Cherry Coke.
I love Cherry Coke.
Cherry Coke's the goddamn best. If I had to name a favorite soda that was not RC, it would probably be Cherry Coke.
Wow. God damn. I want to be at this World's Fair back in time.
It was actually cooler than that because Coke was having a competition between 4 flavors. It was cherry, vanilla, lemon, and lime, of which all of them would eventually be Coke for a little bit or get their own thing for a little bit. Lime Coke, highly underrated. But cherry ended up being the most popular, so Coke decided to make it a permanent thing. Yeah, so it sounded great. Oh yeah, there was also like a fast food chain that premiered there. There was a lot of cool shit that happened in Knoxville. There were some big issues though, because you couldn't just call up a hotel in Knoxville and get a room. You had to go through a particular agency to get a hotel room, and 2 of them failed financially in the process. Not hotels, but planning agencies.
Oh no, even with the guaranteed clientele.
Yeah, it was a huge pain in the ass just because Knoxville's not exactly a city that's big enough to take on a world clientele.
It's really not.
there
And it
were a
has a
lot of
university
issues.
too.
And so the Sun Sphere's still there. There's like a glass pyramid that's still there. I'm assuming it's probably a Bass Pro Shops now, but I don't really know. But yeah, it was a hell of a destination to get to, especially if you could get there by train. So
And
they would
for
make
free, no less.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's going to be expensive when you get there, so you better save your money where you can. So the pair would make their way to Knoxville without issue and spent most of the day they got there trying to sneak into the fair. They were caught every single time. And eventually, Graham just reached into his sock for the last dollars that the pair had and paid for their tickets. And so they both just got in and spent the day.
They put in the effort.
Yeah.
They tried.
And I gotta respect those guards who are just like, most hard asses would be like, get the fuck out of here. I don't care if you have money. But for those guys to be like, I respect the gumption. And I love the fact you could admit when you lost. So
Yes.
enjoy some Cherry Coke, touch some buttons, get some gas.
America.
Fuck
American
yeah.
trifecta.
Give us another goddamn fucking World's Fair.
Use the touchscreen to order a Cherry Coke while you pump your gas.
God, that is some sexy dialogue. I mean, if there was another mid-sized to low mid-sized city that would get a World's Fair, do you have a pick of which you wish?
Wow. I would want something like Brainerd,
Ooh, that would be
Dakota.
interesting.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
somewhere that's just like a little bit of like a woof. Like, I guess this is great for the local economy, but
Yeah.
you want me to go where?
Welcome to the World's Fair in Minot, South Dakota.
Or like a mid-sized city that's 90 minutes away from Orlando.
Oh
Just
my
enough
God.
for people to be like, you couldn't have it in Orlando.
Some Kissimmee St. Cloud.
Yeah.
I hear from the 90s they have the best hotels. But this wouldn't be the end of the adventures for Bill and Graham. The two proved to be excellent travel companions, and the next summer, Bill had already planned out their newest adventure. While at college, Bill had been a member of the sailing club and taken part in the New River Raft Race. The race required teams to make their own makeshift rafts out of junk and then race them, I assume because more modern iterations of it is just who can sink everyone else's rafts the fastest. There's not really a whole lot of racing going on.
Oh.
But, so he'd been a part of that, but the New River would be too small for Bill's plan. And even as a river, it's not even a river, it's more of like a channel that connects canals together until you get to the Everglades, so it's not really a challenge. Instead, Bill and Graham would build their own raft and plan to Huck Finn the shit out of it down the mighty Mississippi.
Oh no, not the Mississippi.
But the pair would meet up in Bill's mom's home in Greensboro, and using $15 and any spare parts they could find lying around her house, they created the raft. The Washington Post described their boat as such, quote, "The mast is a thin question mark of a tree, held fast by coat hangers and propped upright near the bow of the raft by a wooden cable spool. The main sail has been fashioned from 8 chicken feed bags. The midship balanced on the warp of a dozen boards and planks that form the deck. And on the deck is a wicker chair and a recliner. The rudder has a doorknob attached to it. The cook stove was once a television."
That sounds awesome.
It sounds great. And so the pair dubbed themselves the River Rat Yacht Club and bounced around on names that they were going to name for their ship. First, it was the Bad Art Barge, then Columbia 4, but finally they would settle on their last name, the USS Fear.
Nice.
Which,
honestly,
for teenage men, that's very good.
I'm genuinely so envious of this time and this lifestyle to be like, yeah, I have an associate's degree in architecture, but what I'm going to do is take $15, which has incredible purchasing power for the time, and like just hyper fixate on this weird thing for a while. I'm gonna do that.
Genuinely I don't understand. Reading it, I definitely was wondering how the fuck you get to do something like this, because it does involve involves a lot of confidence in yourself.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. You could just stop there, because that's not what I have.
There's a minimum amount of times authorities had to have caught you compared to the maximum amount that leads you to believe there's nothing I can ever do ever again. Like there's a sweet spot for this. It's kind of wonderful. But taking the whole Mississippi River would be a wild call because it is a long trip from North Carolina up to Minnesota. So they decided to kind of do halfway and just go to West Virginia with the plan of taking the Ohio River down until you hit the Mississippi and then take that down to New Orleans.
I mean, I guess I'm quite frankly intimidated by the Mississippi. I just don't think
it's a scary fucking river. It's huge. Yeah. It is fucking huge.
It's like going onto the 90 with one of those little razor scooters that has a little seat.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it also doesn't help that you're one flood away from a map being completely useless on the Mississippi River. That thing has changed so many goddamn times that it's a crapshoot on what you're going to get. And so Bill says the ultimate plan is to get to New Orleans, but what he really wants to do is, if they make good time down the river, he wants to take the thing through the Gulf of Mexico, around Florida, and show up right at the start of the 1983 New River Raft Race and just pull into port while everyone's ready.
This is the plan of someone whose frontal cortex has not fully developed. Like, I'm totally here for it. However, we're talking about the flotation device where the cooking object was once a TV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just an old I forget what they're called on the inside. A cell or a tube. Yeah, it's an old tube TV.
Great.
So it's deep. It's deep enough to put coals in it. But yeah.
Hey, there you go.
So I will say this. I am 99% sure that his plan to sail around Florida to the New River Raft Race was a joke. Because this was something he said after some issues sprung up during their journey. So they were able to launch their raft in the town of Morgantown, West Virginia. But a quarter mile down the Ohio River, they ran into the cops of the water, the U.S. Coast Guard.
Oh no!
I didn't
those
know
narcs.
I didn't know
watery
the Coast Guard
narcs
was on the river, but yeah, fucking water narcs showed up and just immediately told them, you have to go to shore now.
Oh.
It turns out the $15 they spent failed to include equipment that the Coast Guard required of all boats on major American waterways. And this included, quote, a marine radio, charts, distress signals, lights, a horn, and life jackets.
That all sounds like things that can be acquired and are not integral to the design of said flotation device.
We just want it
These
to
are
float
all
and look
easy
good.
add-ons. Yeah, you can get some lights. You can fucking get a chart.
So between the two, they had $5. And the radio alone was going to set them back a few hundred because it had to be like a specific radio for boats that connected to other boats. You couldn't just like get a CB radio and hope for the best.
It's like, what if they started with a car radio and then just painted it to look like the radio that you said you needed?
I mean, those water narcs are going to shoot that down within minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're going to be trying to call you on the radio.
So, the radio alone would have ruined them. But when the Coast Guard had finally got them back to shore, the teenagers revealed to them that there was more trouble with their raft than they had let on. As they said, the sail was cracked. The whole raft was on the verge of splitting in half, and they'd lost their rudder at least twice.
Oh, no.
So when Bill's saying, "Oh, we're going to make it to the New River raft race," he was probably joking.
Yeah.
Because he did say that at the rate they were going, it was going to take him about 8.25 years to get there. So Bill assumed that this would be the end of the rafting adventure, and they started trying to think of cool ways to blow up the boat. And this was round about the time that the locals started showing up. Quote, "A story in a Huntington, West Virginia newspaper halted the execution. People began appearing at the dock downtown, where the raft was tied, bearing gifts of food, money, and equipment. After 3 days, Tsangares and Hacker had rebuilt the raft and satisfied every Coast Guard objection to their craft. Somebody donated a car battery. A local electrician then volunteered to wire the radio and the horn. Quote, it was amazing. We didn't have to do anything but sit there and everything came to us," said Tsangares, who now thanks the Coast Guard for docking their trip. Quote, "We were already starting to come apart when they got to us. If they had just waited, we'd have fallen apart after a few miles. They gave people time to help us."
Oh, it's adorable.
This is also leaving out the fact that locals brought them food and beer throughout their time that they were at port.
Oh, we love a community.
It's really great.
Yeah.
So within 3 days, Bill and Graham were back at sail, but that's when they found another huge obstacle. Turns out the Ohio River has always been a real pain in the ass to traverse. The most notable section that caused problems is the Falls of Ohio outside of Louisville. It's less of a waterfall and more of a set of rapids, but in the early 1800s, unless the water was high enough, boats would have to stop before the falls, let passengers off, put them on some form of transportation to get them past the falls, where they then got on a new boat and kept going.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So to remedy the issue, a canal was built in 1825. And as more boats took the Ohio for transporting coal, the Army Corps of Engineers needed to ensure that the river would be deep enough for the whole trip. And this began making a shit pile of canals, dams, and locks along the entire river. So nowadays, the Ohio River is not so much a river as it is a bunch of lakes that sort of move to the west. And to make matters worse, Graham had to go back to Georgia. It was late August, and his senior year of high school was starting, and he couldn't miss it.
Oh, yeah, you need to graduate, Grammy.
Yeah, so Bill's alone by himself, and he keeps going.
Yeah.
Best I could tell is he made it about 30 miles downriver to the town of Greenup, Kentucky. And that kind of seems about the point that Bill packed it in. And it is a shame because tourists and locals alike had come to enjoy this makeshift boat that was going down the river. People on their pontoon boats would go up and start taking pictures. The Coast Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers had agreed to help Bill as far as he was willing to go. A dude who was in control of the particular lock system of the Ohio River was working with Bill to figure out what time he would end up at the locks to be able to guide him into it and then help him downriver.
Oh,
but
this is so sweet.
It really is very sweet that these agencies were like, fuck it, I need something to do.
Yeah.
I will help a teenager on a boat that should kill him get down this river. But yeah, it seems like he gave up then. But following this, Bill falls off the map. And he resurfaces around 1988 in the town of Sausalito, California. By this point, he'd enrolled at San Francisco State University and began a BA program in liberal studies, which I think that's just like a general degree, if I'm remembering right.
I think so too. Yeah.
There's not a lot about his activities in 1988, except for the fact that he ran for Sausalito City Council and listed himself as, quote, a sailor/artist.
Hell yeah.
He would finish last out of 8 people with 92 votes.
Okay.
Some sources do also have him running for Marin County Board of Supervisors that year, but if he did, I think it's safe to say he dropped out of that race to run for Sausalito City Council, but there's just not a lot of information out there about it. But losing the race did allow him to refocus on his studies, and in 1989, he gets his degree in liberal studies. And armed with a bachelor's degree and happily married at this point, Bill entered into the work that would become his life's work, screen printing novelty t-shirts.
Okay, Bill.
Yeah, that's not to say, though, that would be William's sole company throughout his life. In 1996, he would start Beat the Street Enterprises. And if there is one detail of Bill's story that I would call less than good, it is probably this one. So this new company, I guess you could generously describe as being focused on marketing and advertising. The sole method of advertising would be getting the word out on companies and their products by having unhoused people hold kind of haggard cardboard signs that instead of saying, "Hungry, please help," would just have a company logo on the sign instead.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So he was like, this company was like the inventor of what we see now, like the person dressed in a Statue of Liberty costume, waving a sign.
I get the feeling that's always been around. I think he was, I remember this happening in the 90s. He was kind of the originator of the idea of like, oh, these people are already holding signs, so why don't we just give them signs that are useful? We'll capitalize on their pain and difficulties.
Oh, God.
With like a Ford dealership sign instead.
Oh, yeah, this is real tragic.
So this did get attention through the San Francisco Chronicle, and they noted that the basic idea behind the business is that Billy would charge $20 per hour to every company that wanted to do this, and then would pay $5 an hour to the people holding the signs.
No!
Which was 25 cents above minimum wage at the time.
All of that is terrible. All of it across the board.
According to the San Francisco Chronicle, the only company that had taken Billy up on his offer at the time was Bill's own t-shirt printing company.
And family.
The only workers that he seemed to have found were a married couple by the name of Jay and Linda Turnbull, who had been a machinist and accountant prior to losing their jobs and their home. So there are two ways to take this. One, it's a real gross way to have cheap advertising, get a little local attention, and really do nothing to fix homelessness whatsoever. Two, I think we have to remember Gen X 90s humor.
Do go on, Dusty.
So
as I cue up reality bites.
Oh my God. So Bill says he got the idea after seeing someone holding a sign for help while standing under a huge advertising billboard. And I think it's really good to remember that if you were in the 90s and you were between the age of 12 and 40, ideally more like 15 and 40, just everything you did was soaked in irony, like helpless irony. There's nothing we can do about it, irony. And so it kind of sounds like a counterculture joke that some squares took way too seriously. Because San Francisco Chronicle noted that Linda Turnbull was holding a sign while under a Pac Bell billboard right above her, and she notices that, yeah, it is pretty much the same thing. And so in a sense, it is kind of like an ironic counterculture joke that you're having unhoused people advertise in a world full of advertisements.
It's a Pomo billboard.
What, Pomo?
Postmodern.
Oh, God damn it. I hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah, I live in the Pomo neighborhood. Yeah, and so I think, it is very much a postmodern sort of thing. And I think it's backed up more behind this because Beat the Street Enterprises is never mentioned again after this article. I think it was just a one-time goof that people took seriously, and then Bill's like, okay, we're done. I do remember hearing this happening in multiple places when I was a kid, so I think if he was doing it as a joke, there were definitely some people doing it seriously.
Right. Which is often the case with these things.
Yeah. Well, and Linda had brought up the point that when she was holding the sign advertising the t-shirt company, she could visibly see people in their cars go from disgusted to relieved. And so that in and of itself was probably meant to be more of a thing, more of like a makes you think sort of moment. But everyone was like, oh yeah, I do feel more relieved knowing that it's an advertisement than an actual human that I'm being confronted with who is on the verge of losing everything.
Yes. And meanwhile, it's like, could this person have just been an employee being paid an actual wage that continued on past this one day and this one event? Sure, but no one's going to think too hard about that. And in the meantime, it's like, let's just have some freelancers.
Yeah, it's some real gig economy nightmare fuel long before Uber and Lyft. So in 1998, he would pivot his screen printing business to a more brick and mortar location in the Los Angeles neighborhood of Los Feliz. And he would name his new shop the YQ Trading Post. So I don't know if when you were growing up, you had sort of novelty kitschy shops in the areas that you're at. I know in Cleveland, Big Fun is one of the main stores for that, where there's novelty t-shirts and there's incense and there's lava lamps and there's weird little cheap toys, but there's also mugs and that sort of stuff.
Maybe, I grew up up in a Big Ten university, so there might have been something kitschy to that effect.
Yeah, like I know the big one in Columbus is like the waterbed factory, where it's like you get smoking accessories and waterbeds and just a lot of weird shit. It feels like a very 90s sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he ends up opening the YQ Trading Post, and the store had a modestly successful start. But I think even Bill really couldn't predict the success for him that was on the horizon. And for this, he would have to thank just complete and total fate. On December 12th, 2001, actress Winona Ryder would enter a Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. She shopped around, but security guards watching the surveillance TVs saw something different. They would claim they saw her picking up clothes and accessories, then removing their alarm tags and pushing them in a bag. Winona would state that all she was doing was moving clothes from department to department, but the security guards descended upon her, and after having her turn out her bags, they also found bottles of oxycodone, diazepam, and Vicodin.
Oh, poor Winona.
Cops showed up and she was arrested, and she would be charged with grand theft for the $4,760 worth of clothing and hair accessories, and for possession of drugs, since she didn't have her drug prescription on hand with her while she was shopping.
Incredible.
Yeah. So in total, she ends up getting 4 felony charges, and after paying $20,000 in bail, both sides geared up for a very expensive and extremely public trial.
Ugh.
As for Bill, he prepared for the affair by adding to his long-running Arrested Celebrity series. So typically whenever a celebrity gets arrested for things that aren't murder or assault, Bill would make a t-shirt to cash in on that. When Paul Rubens got arrested for random obscenity charges, he made his own like free Paul Rubens attire that featured Paul Rubens's mugshot and just kind of cashed in on that. But as for Winona, he needed a little something different. This is a 2-time Oscar-nominated actress, don't you know? You got to class it up a little bit. So he took a basic white t-shirt, took an image of Winona Ryder from the internet, and I don't know what Photoshop was in 2002 or 2001, but took her face and sort of gave her hair a 70s hairstyle and framed the picture with the phrase, "Free Winona."
I remember the Free Winona shirts.
He's the guy who did it.
Shut up.
Yeah. And as the trial gained pop culture popularity, which was mainly thanks to a lot of late night TV comics who really needed to fill out a lot of time.
Right, because no one's joking about 9/11 quite yet.
I hate the fact that I keep forgetting this was around like a couple months after 9/11. I know we said to never forget, but it's very easy to these days.
We're not forgetting, but we need a distraction.
Right. So yeah, so as the infamy of the trial rose, so did shirt sales. They were $15 a pop. Bill had printed about 600 of them, but he ends up selling out by January. At this point, British Vogue had declared it, quote, the hottest accessory in Los Angeles.
Amazing. Yes, it was.
Or as Bill would tell them, quote, they're selling like teeth whitener, which was the fad at the time.
Just say hotcakes, you
you
hobo-loving train hopper.
You can't buy hotcakes at a lot of places in LA. You can buy fast food burgers pretty easy. Like, I know one place you can get pancakes regularly at 24 hours in LA, and that's about it.
They're selling like donuts.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too. Yeah, donuts would work.
They're selling like animal fries.
Now I'm just hungry. Fuck off.
Yeah, same. Now I want In-N-Out.
Oh my God.
What were we talking about?
Shirts. I don't know, politics. British Vogue did ask him what he was going to do next, and he was planning on selling a canvas tote that on the outside said, I paid for this stuff.
Oh, burn.
Yeah. He was personally a very huge fan of the shirt in general, because he liked the fact that it could be political while not having to bring up 9/11 or terrorism, but ultimately that it was completely meaningless. Because at the time, Winona was never put in jail. She paid bail immediately and really didn't suffer that many consequences.
Yeah. She's now part of a hit TV series. She's
exactly.
doing fine.
Within a year, the Free Winona shirt reached its zenith. Winona would do a cover shoot for W Magazine while wearing the shirt, and she was found guilty of grand theft and shoplifting. Ultimately, she'd be sentenced to 480 hours of community service, which she finished in 2005. She had to pay $3,700 in fines. She had to pay Saks Fifth Avenue $6,400. And she was required to attend psych and drug counseling, which ultimately was for the best.
Yeah.
It turns out that the doctor who had prescribed her all those medications was a grifting quack who was making all of his money off of getting patients addicted to pain medication.
No.
Yeah. And
that's a yikes.
It was a huge yikes, and ultimately led to the dude getting his medical license revoked.
Hey, this is great.
Yeah. So yeah, it was essentially just someone taking advantage of someone in their darkest moment. And I'm glad that never happens anymore.
Huh.
Bill closed out 2002 with a return to politics. He's riding big off this t-shirt money and all this fame. And it's that year that the neighborhood of Hollywood decided they were going to have a vote on whether or not they were seceding from Los Angeles.
Oh.
Yeah, Los Angeles is a very odd city because it's huge, but you have these little pocket enclaves of independent
Yes.
cities.
Yeah, like Culver City,
Right. You
Glendale.
have no idea how mad I was when I found out that the bus to Culver City does not help you get to LAX, that you have to buy a completely different bus pass to get to anything that will get you there.
Oh.
And for those of you who don't, a nice thing to think of it for those of you not from LA, it's very much as if Harlem was its own independent city while being surrounded by New York City. And so, yeah, Hollywood's voting on whether or not they want to secede. And there is a concurrent election going alongside that if they secede, they need to have their own city council. And so Bill decides he's going to run for Hollywood City Council on the off chance that they become their own entity.
He is ready. Is Hollywood?
The answer is no. Hollywood was not ready for either issue. Secession ends up losing 68-32.
Damn.
And Bill finishes dead last out of 21 people.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a top 3 sort of thing, but it's still not good that you're coming in last out of 21. And he gets 1,411 votes.
Damn.
So yeah, not a great start, but it's really not the thing that he would become at least somewhat known for. And even the next thing's not what he's known for, but it's more of like a prequel of what's to come. And that is the political holiday of all California, the 2003 gubernatorial recall election. So we've done a whole
That'll
ass
thing.
episode. Yeah, we've done a whole ass episode on this before. So if you really want to hear about it, go there. Because I'm not going to talk about the 200 plus people running for governor again.
Yeah, go listen to it. Have a time. Remember the early aughts and then shudder.
But yeah, so pretty much everyone and their mom was running for governor at the time. It was extremely easy.
Literally.
Yeah, very fucking literally. And so Bill decides he's going to use this election as a test run for something bigger. And in this race, he would create an alter ego of sorts, a somewhat far-right Republican by the name of Bill Wyatt. So this Bill, he's a huge fan of the father of the recall, Congressman Darrell Issa, but he's against Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is actually a very popular idea to take amongst some Republicans, most notably Alex Jones. Because Alex Jones very much likes far-right Republicans, but Schwarzenegger is viewed more as like a moderate, more of a centrist Republican, whether or not that's true.
Schwarzenegger has had some first-hand experience with fascists before.
Right, but have you heard his Austrian accent? It sounds evil.
It sounds delightful.
So he's kind of doing this like Alex Jones light sort of thing where he's like, we need a recall, but this is bad. And so his only campaign issue is to get people to vote no on the recall and keep Arnold from winning. And the only thing he does to really kind of push this forward is at his shop, he is selling Recall Arnold t-shirts. So,
and
are they kind of not?
Are they flying off the shelf as much as Free Winona?
No. The main shirt at the time that I could tell that was selling well was Enron had just failed, and so he was selling a shirt with the Enron logo with a devil horn coming off of it.
All right.
Yeah, and he's also selling Free Martha Stewart shirts at this time too, so those are going well. Yeah, Recall Arnold's not going super well, but I mean, it's there if you want it. So aside from this, the only other big moment that he had is that he gets kicked out of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
That's a positive in my book.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So Jay Leno, being the comedy guru that he is, decides that he wants to fill his audience one night with nothing but candidates for governor. And he gets about 125 to show up. Bill shows up, but he shows up wearing a face mask that's just the Terminator. And while he's sitting in the audience, he is chanting, "Equal time, equal time." For all of the candidates to speak, because Arnold announced that he was running for governor on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And so, of course, all 125 people should get the same time slot that Arnold got.
He's not wrong. Bill, speak your piece.
Yeah, and so he was kindly asked to leave by security and was kicked out of the show. With a lot of people asking, who is that guy? And one person saying, oh, that's Bill. I like to pretend it was Angeline that was saying that, but who knows? So Bill gets some local press about his run, but he had one major mistake in that he filed too late to get Bill Wyatt on the ballot. He was able to get Bill Tsangares on the ballot, so it really wasn't working as like an alter ego run, so you really couldn't go full bore with this character. And so in the end, Bill Tsangares would finish 129th with 281 votes statewide. But once again, this isn't the election that would make Bill at least to me, known.
Yeah,
Because,
this
like I
is
said,
just the taster. This
yeah,
is
this is the prequel. This is him getting ready, testing
amuse-bouche.
out some shit.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, the more you dive into the Bill Wyatt character, the less interested in the recall he seems to be. There's some mentions of the race, but the real point, the ultimate goal of all of this, is to get Bill Wyatt to run against George W. Bush in the 2004 GOP primaries for president.
Okay.
And to unravel this, we kind of need to use the Wayback Machine to search all of Bill's campaign websites. He had at least 5. And first up to bat is www.freespeech.org. There's a hyphen between free and speech, so you know it's good.
Ooh, and an org.
So small asterisks here. The Wayback Machine, while freaking amazing, doesn't take pictures of every single website on the internet every single day. So I am working with best case knowledge and guessing dates on this. Luckily, I do like the fact that Bill does use it more of a blog than like a website. So some dates are more static than others, but it's just kind of an asterisk sort of thing whenever we bring up the Wayback Machine in general. So on June 29th, 2003, freespeech.org detailed what Bill dubbed Operation Voter Freedom. Supposedly it's a play on Operation Iraqi Freedom, but it was probably funnier in 2003. I don't know.
Maybe not.
Quote, and I'm sorry, this is a long quote, so interrupt me
All
whenever you want to talk about something. Quote, I feel like I've been in a coma and just woke up to some weird political science experiment. I went to sleep after Clinton was elected in 1992 and woke up to find out that George W. Bush stole the last election. The economy is in tatters, people are being offered bribes from the government in the form of tax cuts, and the US is an expanding military nation. I feel faint. I need to find a creative way out of this mess for my own sanity, or at least find some kind of action that I can take so that I don't feel like I'm contributing to the collective actions of our radical partisan government. I feel that I was asleep when George stole the last election, but I am awake now, and I do not like what I see. All of the newspapers that I read indicate that George W. Bush will steamroll the primary and possibly win California in November 2004. Say it ain't so. My plan is to do whatever it takes, even if it means joining the Republican Party, to make sure I have some effect on this harsh new reality.
On the one hand, I definitely know what he's talking about of like suddenly waking up and realizing like, wait, what? Wait, no, my formative years were in the Clinton era and I just expected everything to like keep progressing. What do you mean we're doing what in Iraq? Why? Wait,
Yeah.
what? And then, but then on the flip side, it's like, and I also am just like, I'm getting such visceral flashbacks to that time where it did seem like all of these hard-on guys were like, I can't believe this is where my government is and it's a conspiracy and like this is an outrage. I'm gonna hiss into the wind with this art and that's what I'm gonna do and my voice will be heard and matter.
I'm gonna go onto Yahoo chat so hard. I'm gonna get red, white, and blue fonts, and I'm gonna just rail against everyone in the room until I get banned.
You will know my anger from my one-person monologue show on off Broadway.
Yes. Yeah, it's I do remember the 2000 election and being a senior in high school, so not having many strong opinions about it, except like after a month waiting to find out who the president is, just being so fed up with people worrying about it. But I didn't know about the Brooks Brothers riot. I didn't know about all the things that were going on during that time. I should have had an opinion about the Supreme Court just deciding we're done counting, but I didn't. And yeah, it's kind of a shock to the system when you're like, oh, we're at war now? We're at further war? But I thought a million people didn't want that. But yeah, it's definitely something that rings really, really true that, protesting really doesn't do much of anything unless you're willing to kind of go far with it. And, op-eds don't do anything, but a particular kind of running for office is a tangible thing you can do to try to stop something.
True.
I mean, we'll cover whether or not that's true as we continue with this, because Bill does list out his plan, and it's fairly simple. And he notes that he's going to run this Bill Wyatt character as an alternative to George W. Bush in the GOP primaries and convince as many, quote, Greens, homeless, libertarians, independents, anarchists, communists, unaffiliated, and every other unrepresented group to join in his cause to oust Bush and join the Republican Party to do so.
We're going to take it over from the inside. Come on, boys.
I mean, it worked for the Mises Caucus and the Libertarian Party, so who fucking knows? And so Bill is realistic about this, though. He's not being, completely pie in the sky. He does note 3 big issues. 1, the Supreme Court might find this sudden surge in GOP membership a version of voter fraud. 2, getting on the ballot for these primaries is going to be hard to begin with.
True. Yes. Acknowledge that.
And 3, he still didn't really know how to get non-voters to get in on this idea, because he does recognize, if I'm going to do this, I need people who have never voted before.
Yes, and those people should be voting anyway.
Mm-hmm. So to make his plan work, Bill estimated that he would need to win primaries in about 15 states. He listed out 15. They're 49% of the Republican population. He openly admits it's not perfect math because he didn't have the delegate math in front of him, but it was pretty much a plan set that these are the biggest 15 states that I need. And if we win this, we're good. He needs to raise at least $250,000 to hire staff and register 1.5 million new Republicans in 8 months. And on July 4th, the project began. I will go ahead and spoil it now. They do not raise $250,000. They do not hire any staff.
Oh.
I don't believe they registered any new Republicans during that time.
Oh.
So they're kind of left with just winning these primaries as being within their control.
Right, because that's in their control, is to win.
Right. So October 9th would be the first timeline date for this, seeing as that's the day that the FEC would recognize Bill Wyatt as a Republican candidate for president. October 9th is also one day after the 2003 recall election, so it might have been jumping the gun a little, but it's also kind of funny. And so he expands his web presence to a multitude of websites. There's speechgate.org, there's freebush.org, but the bulk of his campaign would be live on www.billwyatt.org. Most notably in his pictures in this, he's very clean cut. He normally has like a beard with a little soul patch on his chin.
This is 2003. Yep.
Right. He's a Gen X 2003 guy. He has the complete uniform ready for it. But for this character, He's got to clean shave him. He's got to put on glasses. He's got to wear a tie.
Fedora goes in the closet. Got it.
So it's here that Bill brought up the first big blow to his campaign, and that states were deciding to cancel their GOP primaries. The basic idea is that primaries and caucuses are mad expensive, and unless Bush gets a major challenger, then running them is kind of a complete waste of time.
I mean, they're not, it's unfortunate, but they're not wrong. Like,
yeah.
And why would you try to unseat a sitting president while we're at war, damn it?
Right. It's not like his approval ratings are that low. At least during the beginning of the war, they're pretty high. At the Iraq War, they started going down, but amongst Republicans, still very much high enough to win the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was only really one person who was a serious contender. People assumed Jesse Ventura might jump in. There was rumors that Donald Trump was going to jump in, but ultimately the only real person was the U.S. Senator from Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee, and we will do a whole ass episode on him at some point in time.
Yeah, that name's familiar.
But he was one of the few Republican senators who was against the Iraq War, and people assumed, he's at least a possibility. But once he decided he wasn't going to run, there was no one left to take up that mantle. In total, 12 states would cancel their GOP primaries, and 7 others would do the same, but only because Bush was the only person who made it onto the ballot, so there was no reason to hold it.
Oh, yeah.
So that still leaves 31 states and D.C., but those 19 states dropping out knocked out 4 of Bill's must-wins, with Florida, New York, North Carolina, and Washington. So now he's got to figure out 4 new states to fill this in to be able to have a chance of actually winning. And at this point, Bill changed his strategy a bit more, and not so much just to be, I'm the anti-Bush, but now saying, do you see they're trying to take away your right to pick who's going to be your nominee? You should be against this.
A strong tactic. How did it go?
I don't think no, it didn't go well. I mean, it was pretty much Bill Weld's only move during the 2020 Republican primaries, because the GOP did cancel a fuck ton of primaries as well.
Oh.
And at least there you had a former governor as a major candidate and a former congressman as a major candidate, and still they were canceling primaries.
Yeah, and absolute garbage as your real candidate.
Yeah, and it's, I understand it. If only one person's on the ballot, yeah, you should probably cancel that. That makes sense. But if you get someone on, yes, have a fucking primary. I'm sorry. Lose some money.
Yep. Oh, you want to cry about the Democratic National Committee getting all and their fuckery with primaries and whatnot? No. Clean your own house.
Right. So Bill would say, quote, if the Republican establishment could have gotten rid of the primary process, they would have. So the only way to keep the executive committees from declaring the primaries as useless is to vote against Bush. But the bigger problem, though, is that Bill's 15-state strategy was dead in the water. In the end, he was only able to get on the ballot in 4 states: New Hampshire, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. So he's not.
I'm guessing that's not a strong 4. Yeah.
No. That is not enough to win, even if he wins all those states. It's pretty much gone at this point. So really his only move is to be like, hey, it's bullshit. They're not letting these other states have a primary. So take your anger out by voting for me, Bill Wyatt, a totally real person.
Just, I feel like you and I should really make a Risk-esque board game based on like these rules of like this ultimately useless and meaningless strategy.
Yeah. Yes. No one ever wins except for
No one ever
person
wins.
who's already won before.
And it takes 5 hours to play with your friends and everyone's angry at the end.
Oh, Monopoly. Okay. We'll make a worse Monopoly.
Or Risk, yeah.
So he would be one of 12 nominees in New Hampshire, which is tradition. It's very easy to get on the New Hampshire primary ballot, and I love it for that. So Bill would say on his campaign site, quote, basically, I should only have to say that none of the other candidates are running in any other states, and by default, I'm the only candidate that can contest Bush across the country, which is not true. There was one other person, Blake Ashby, who we talked about for a bit in the Americans Elect episode. He had also made it onto the ballot in New Hampshire and Missouri. But it would be fair to say that Bill did get on the ballot in the most states. So there is that. So I get what he's saying. He's still wrong.
B- for effort.
Right. But I think it's important that, like, what was Bill going to support if he won?
Yeah.
And so early on, part of Bill's platform was to reinstate the draft. And by draft, he meant every single high school graduate and or 18-year-old is now required to serve 2 years of free college, including room and board. And at the age of 20, if you want to go into the military or private life, you are allowed to, if you so wish.
That took a turn I was not expecting.
Yeah, the way he put it is like, we're requiring you to go to college, and it would be unconscionable for us to say you have to pay your own room and board. It's the government's responsibility to pay that for you if you're like drafted. So of course we're going to pay your room and board, and we're going to pay you to go to college.
Okay, I don't hate it.
Yeah. And he does
just
say that he counts sort of like trade programs and military institutions like, you know, the Citadel or BMI or any place like that counting as a college institution as well. So, you know, it's pretty much just requiring people after you graduate or turn 18 to spend 2 years studying a craft or subject.
That's not bad, especially if it's like, I'm assuming like he's influenced by his associate's degree, which is a 2-year outfit.
He does say that he also would accept religious exemptions to this, but I think it was just there because like past draft regulation included that as well, and he's just
sure
that Gen X counterculture humor. Oh, and everyone who finished the 2 years of college draft would be eligible for loans, healthcare, and retirement benefits, mirroring the military benefits you got after leaving service.
I mean, I feel like this is what is that term? Malicious compliance.
Yeah.
I feel like he's seeing America for what it really is and be like, okay, motherfucker, I'll play your game.
Yeah.
You're drafting everyone into happiness.
Yeah, it's mandatory happiness.
Yeah. Go find yourself.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all the platform that he has up until about January. Because he is keeping a campaign journal during this time on his website, or blog, I guess it was called then.
Yeah. Oh, WordPress, a live journal.
And he would openly admit on his website that he really doesn't have much of a platform except for what I just said and getting Bush fired.
Yeah, that was his one objective.
In January, like I said, this starts to be kind of a turning point for Bill because he starts to kind of find his whole endeavor rather pointless. He'd made a plan to visit the states that had him on the ballot with the goal of starting mid-January and stopping around February 3rd in Oklahoma for the primary. But he was finding it hard to actually get himself moving. Quote, there's no way I can meet enough people to make a difference. If I go into towns and head straight to the media, then I'm pandering to the press, and that ain't much different than begging. I do want to complete the journey, the tour, and come face to face with people before the first primaries pass. I'm in a different political world than the frontrunners, and I have to make myself feel important enough to go out there and say just hi to people I don't know. Like I said in the recall campaign, every day I have to wake up and come up with a new reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
All right, calm down, Jack Kerouac.
Oh, God. But I don't know if I actually should run for president. I think in the midst of so much weird humor going on in this, actually reading a part that's him doubting himself it was weirdly humanizing in the moment.
Maybe more candidates should try it out. I don't know.
Like,
show me a little humility. Show me they were well-rounded.
Yeah, I guess I read it myself as like, am I a narcissist? Am I a narcissist enough to do this?
It's like this guy is never going to become president because he is self-aware.
Yeah, exactly. He already knows he's not going to win. Do I keep the joke going even though I'm not going to win? What's actually going to happen after all of this?
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Yeah. Am I going to spend my t-shirt money on this joke?
Right.
So on January 18th, he finally got up the gumption to start his journey. He even broke down and did the one thing he never thought he would ever do in his life. He bought a suit.
Bum, bum, bum.
The plan was to hit Oklahoma, then Missouri, then do 4 days in New Hampshire in the run up to the primary, and then drive back to Missouri and Oklahoma before February 3rd when they were having their primaries. And then Louisiana would kind of be its own thing in the future. Because it was like their primary wasn't until March. So it's really
got it.
It's the
Who
future.
Cares? Yeah,
future doesn't exist yet.
We're living in the now.
Exactly. So throughout the journey, he would blog on his website. And at the start, it's mostly just summaries of the Iowa Democratic primary. He would note that there was 2 feet of snow in Arizona, and he really wondered if his economy rental car would be able to make it through. He notes he slept in his car outside of Amarillo, Texas for the night. And by the time he got to Oklahoma City and Tulsa, he actually finally got a chance to do a bit of campaigning, but found the people there to be, quote, standoffish. He eventually would stay the night at a Motel 6 in St. Louis and considered an independent run because at that time Howard Dean had done his Iowa yell and it was getting pretty clear that he wasn't going to win.
It still breaks my heart.
Yeah, and so Bill was like, maybe I could start a campaign just of disgruntled Dean followers and I could go from there.
You know what I'm also realizing from his blogs and his little journeys around the various states?
Yeah, it's really wonderful in its own little, Twitter is kind of sort of that nowadays, but there's something really special about proto Tumblr and people just writing out stuff and just stacking new blog entries on top of each other and the webpage going down into oblivion with nothing else to click on.
Well, and his awareness of his emotional journey through this. It dawned on me that Bill walks so Beto could run.
God damn it.
Bill was our first emo candidate.
Yeah. I'm definitely getting that sense. I will say I listened to a lot of Korn for this episode because it's like, that's of the time, right? Una, why did we like Korn?
We never did.
In high school, I dated someone shortly who liked Korn, and I was like, I guess I like Korn now.
Oh, I love those moments.
Yeah, and going back and listening to their music, it's like, I do not get it. What did we do?
Oh, see, I would have put on Spoon.
Spoon would have been better.
Yeah.
Or 9 Inch Nails, something.
Yes.
Both would have been better at the time, but I picked Korn, and this is what we got. Anyway, so he drives from St. Louis to Manchester, New Hampshire, ends up getting there a day late. But during that time, he was able to expand on his platform while driving, and his platform now included banning spam and pop-up ads.
Sure, because he's probably dealing with that on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, you see kids, there used to be a time that you would click on a website that might have been porn, and then multiple windows come up, and then your parents walk in the room, and you're just clicking at stuff and then turn off the monitor like that's a normal thing to do.
Right, yeah, and it's real whack-a-mole too. You're trying to X out of all these pop-outs, but then your finger slips and you unfortunately click on the ad, and so now it's a new fresh hell awaits you.
Sometimes you'll click off the ad and 2 more pop up, like some sort of demonic rising ceremony.
Like a Hydra, yeah.
I've summoned fucking shitty porn furthermore, and I might win $1 million. Yeah. So
you know what? It was still pre-Facebook. Take me back. I don't want to live in this reality anymore.
Yeah. If Bill knows a way to ban spam and pop-up ads and have that shit stick, make him emperor of the country. Make him king of the earth. It's
czar him.
He also decided he wanted to abolish the RIAA and end all torrent-based piracy laws, because this was also around about the time that Metallica and a bunch of other bands were going after Napster and LimeWire and all that. And people were getting astronomical fines for downloading 1 CD.
Yes. I knew someone in college who got slapped for for leaving. It was either Kazaa or LimeWire up to me. And we looked at the songs that got her slap on the wrist from Oberlin, and it was like a B-side nothing hit from 50 Cent got her.
No. Oh, that hurts. That really hurts. Yeah, I think we all went through college being like, you're not allowed to torrent anything. And, we collected entire libraries of music during that time.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I dropped my hard drive with 30 gigs of that
No.
pirated goodness. I
Oh,
know. I
fuck
know.
that. Yeah, I'm keeping my iPod from that time in a very safe location to never be ruined, hopefully.
Right, right. To just leave it with the shit. What's the museum in DC? The
Oh, fuck. Like in the
Smithsonian. Yeah,
Smithsonian? Yeah.
yeah. Will it to the Smithsonian.
Oh my.
Smithsonian when you die.
He also decided he was going to end the war in Iraq and split it into 3 countries and then pull everyone out.
I mean,
Which
don't split a sovereign nation up.
Yeah,
We
you
did
should
that
not.
before, and now we're in this firestorm.
It didn't. Was it Foucault? It didn't work well for Maginot, I think it was, or Foucault. I don't know. It didn't work out when France and Britain did it.
Yeah,
So
no.
yeah, I think if we're gonna split it up between Kurdistan and whatever countries like the Shia and Sunni Muslims want to make, I guess that's your plan, but it's not good.
Yeah.
And finally, he vowed to find Hunter S. Thompson because he heard that he was in Manchester following the primaries, and he was going to go to every bar he could until he found him.
That's a peak Gen X goal that I would have also had.
Yeah. I don't believe he did, which is sad news.
Oh,
Also, he gave out his personal cell number for anyone who wanted to meet up while he was in New Hampshire.
It's so cute.
He did say no assassins and no one who worked for Homeland Security.
Boom.
I mean, pretty good rules.
Right. A little redundant.
On the day of the New Hampshire primary, he would leave midday because a nor'easter was coming up the coast, and the only way he knew he'd be able to make it to Missouri and Oklahoma was if he left on time. And even then, outside of Philadelphia, he hit a lot of black ice.
Yikes.
So he did have to go early. As for the primary itself, things did not go that great. He was not part of the St. Anselm debate that I could find for lesser known candidates that year, so he missed out with that. He got 153 votes, which placed him in 10th with 0.23% of the votes. The person who did come in second was the former mayor of Berlin, New Hampshire, Richard Bosa, who served one term from 95 to 97 and seemed to be more of a fluke election. Because he's mostly more well known for constantly suing local courts from 1998 until his death to keep from paying child support.
Boo!
Yeah, Richard
Deadbeat!
Bosa sucks. But good news, he died 1 year after the New Hampshire primary in 2004.
Jesus. I mean, yeah, I'm sure child support's still unpaid.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, from what I read, he got into a fight with his wife and his children 1 year after the divorce, and he's like, screw you, I'm not paying you any money. Yeah.
Oh, Dusty, before we go on, I
Yes.
have a pitch for you because you mentioned that New Hampshire will take just about anyone for the primaries. Like they don't mind. What if we made our own t-shirt? It was the outline of the state of New Hampshire and it said primary sluts.
Yes. 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 Also, yes. Love it.
My God. To be found on a future Patreon.
Oh, I think I know who I'd pay to design that too. So Bill makes his way back to Oklahoma City, and he decides he's going to spend 4 days there before the primaries for Missouri and Oklahoma. And in that time, Bill had finally found the time to write down the 10 planks of his platform. He listed as the 10 reasons to dump Bush and vote for Bill Wyatt, but they're very much still a platform. The first one is like, don't take your vote for granted. This is a chance to say no to Bush. The second was truthfulness, in that Bush has lied a lot about things, including the Iraq War, and I have not.
Yeah, what a time.
3, create a war on joblessness and focus on a new administration on the creation of jobs. Which, I think we've adamantly said in the past, it'd be really cool to see the Workers Bureau come back in America and have like public works projects available for anyone who needs work.
Yep.
Election reform, mainly to protect the primary election process to ensure that you can't just kick people out and cancel primaries.
Yeah.
5, no more voodoo recoveries. So essentially knocking out voodoo economics and trickle down recovery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 7, abort the zealot. Stop running the government like it's a religious corporate cult.
I'm going to need you to expand on that.
Oh, that's the biggest paragraph, so I can do that.
Great.
Creating fantasy-based distractions to avoid our real problems is a continuation of the bait-and-switch policies of Bush. Expanding our borders to Mars is just that. The same goes for constitutional amendment relating to banning gay marriage and additional legislation regarding abortion. God was not elected to run our government. George W. Bush has proven that he does not have a separation between church and state.
Oh, Bill, it only gets worse.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my God. God, if only.
Yeah, you know what? This is very prescient.
Yeah. 8, fix the infrastructure. Essentially, it says consumerism is not going to support our economy in the long run, and we should refocus the driving force of our economy to modern and sustainable business models to grow into the future. 9, balance the budget. And 10, environment and industry, which means increased development in sustainable energy and domestic exploration on our already developed regions, not an unlimited entry into environmentally sensitive areas. So just, solar, don't get oil from preserves.
God, I mean,
Yeah.
So much of this is like just election based and has rightly, like understandably, it has nothing to do with like once he's in office because that was never the point. But yeah, now I didn't know I could be more angry at all the Bush voters in 2004. But then again, we were stuck with Kerry, so
yeah. Oh my God. I mean, you only have to be mad at the Bush voters in 4 states. So Bill ends up staying in Oklahoma City, focusing all of his efforts on Oklahoma in particular. By February 1st, he noted how much he was missing his wife and kids and seemed to really want to go home, viewing the whole thing as like, I've spent a lot of money, I've wasted a lot of time, and I miss my family.
Yeah.
But he sticks it out for 2 more days, and he personally campaigned across the city as much as he could. On February 3rd, Bill would get the results of these 2 primaries. He had finished 3rd or 4th with 1% of the vote in Missouri, losing out to Bush and Uncommitted. But in Oklahoma, where he spent the bulk of his time, he would finish 2nd of 2.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So he does say early on, is like, I'm the only other person who qualified in Oklahoma, so I'm going to win 2nd no matter what, and made a big deal of it.
Fair enough.
It was kind of expected. But what was a bit of a surprise was that Bill got barely over 10% of the vote.
In Oklahoma?
10.02% of the vote in Oklahoma in the primaries.
Oh, jeez.
Now, it's not enough to win any delegates, but for a protest vote, that is incredibly impressive.
Hey, good job, Bill.
So now, Bill actually has to take the Louisiana primary on March 9th seriously. Well, I mean, not so much seriously. It's just now he has to continue the joke.
That's a sunk cost fallacy, Bill.
No, you're
Go
committed
to
to
your
the
wife and
bit at this
kids.
point. He stated he planned on traveling to New Orleans at some point and figured that if he dressed like Ignatius Riley from a confederacy of dunces, it might be enough to get the media to pay attention to what he's doing.
It can't not work.
He would end up in New Orleans the day before the primary, but by that point, whatever protest momentum he had, he sensed was gone. No one seemed interested in talking to him. He made a joke that a couple people wanted to throw him into an alligator pit when he said, "How are things going?" And the tone of the blog was a lot more of someone doing something because he made a promise to do it and couldn't figure out any good way to back out. He does finish 2nd of 2, as expected, and he got 3.9% of the vote, which not bad, but not enough to really...
10. Yeah.
You want to end your set with a really good closer. 10%'s a good closer.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Should have cut his losses at Oklahoma.
Yeah. So that night he would declare himself, quote, out of the race and out of money. But he did say he was the first nominee to announce that he was running in 2008 for president. To get that pit out of your stomach, he doesn't. He is not going to run for president in 2008, so don't worry about it. Because in 2005, he runs for mayor of Los Angeles. He stated he was mainly running to inspire other people to run for public office, but he also noted that he wanted more neighborhoods to vote for secession from the city, just like Hollywood tried in 2002.
I mean, I guess, but all right.
Missing from his website, though, is a list of serious plans that he had if he won. That, essentially, I think it was LA Blog asked every candidate a series of 8 questions of what they would do if they won the mayor position. And Bill answered every single one completely seriously. It included expanding public transit across the city, lowering public transit fares, getting high-speed rail, requiring the LAPD to max out at a 4-day work week, and to expand affordable housing specifically for artists.
Damn, Bill.
Yeah.
There's
and in the end, he finished not last for the first time in his... Well, I mean, since the Missouri primaries. He finished 10th of 12. He got 690 votes.
Okay.
And he thanked every single one of them on his campaign blog by saying, to voter 1, I thank you. To voter 2, I thank you. And kept going for 690 lines.
Oh, my goodness.
Zanga does not have a limit.
I hope he copied and pasted most of that.
I hope so too. So he would tease potential congressional runs in 2006 and 2007, but dropped out of the boat. By the end of summer of 2007, all of his Bill Wyatt associated pages began forwarding to www.tshirts.org, and the character of Bill Wyatt was officially retired. And pretty much since then, William Tsangares has just gone back into the ether. And he's still very much alive, which is a nice change of pace for people that we talk about on here.
Yeah.
And if you want to visit the YQ Trading Post, it's still open on 1770 North Vermont Avenue.
Oh shit, maybe I will.
And it's just as 90s kitschy as it has always been.
Oh.
He has even continued his free celebrity series. This year, the series is about P22. Now, are you familiar with P22?
Yes, the
Yeah.
mountain lion.
P22 is a mountain lion who has lived at Griffith Park for over a decade.
He got separated by the highway.
Yeah. And so, he becomes this local celebrity and he's given a tracking collar in 2012. By 2014, the City Park Service treated P22 for an extraordinarily bad case of mange that he probably got from rat poison. And as thanks to the city, in 2016, he probably returned the favor by eating a koala from the LA Zoo. They can't prove it, but they found the elderly koala outside of the zoo and torn apart. So at least P22 got to try Drop Bear.
Damn it.
P22 would get national attention last year in 2022 when he came down from the mountains and began attacking chihuahuas. In total, he attacked 2, but killed none of them because they're chihuahuas and they're just vicious.
They bring a
animals.
gun to a knife fight.
Yeah. Eventually, the Parks District would be able to capture P22 in the back of someone's backyard in Los Feliz. And while he was tranquilized, they kind of found a number of things the matter with P22. The mange had returned. He now had kidney failure, heart disease, skin parasites, but also they were pretty sure the day before he was hit by a car because they found skull fractures and multiple eye injuries and multiple other issues that were like, yeah, this seems like a car hit you. Yeah, the initial plan was to return P22 to a wildlife sanctuary because he was clearly roaming outside of Griffith Park at this point, but had so many damages that they had to put him to sleep. But P22 lives on at the YQ Trading Post, where you have a multitude of options.
Oh my God.
You can get a free P22 shirt off of Etsy. You can get a P22 Never Forget shirt, which I am very fond of. And at least diametrically related, you can get a shirt with a picture of the Chihuahua on it that says Born to Kill.
Holy shit.
Which I'm a gigantic fan of that shirt. But that's where we leave the William Tsangares story. As a guy who kind of came up with a big goof, got caught up in it, and weirdly made a tiny bit of history in the process, but has returned back to his wildly successful t-shirt business.
Incredible. Yeah, sorry. I found their Etsy shop.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
There's a P22 mountain lion iron on patch. Oh, I'm into all of this.
Iron on patches is like a very 90s thing.
I'll never forget. Okay, incredible.
Yeah, if I still had my punk hoodie somewhere, I would probably get an iron-on patch of that lion. But yeah, that's the story of Bill Tsangares. About as 90s and Gen X as you can get without suddenly turning into a monster in his old age.
What a delightful, fun episode.
Yeah.
We finally had one. It was just quirky and nice.
Yeah. It's really weird. Like we've talked about Los Angeles, or people who live in Los Angeles before, and I just kind of always assume those are going to take a dark turn. But Gabriel Green and his UFO party, even he was like an utter sweetheart who just believed in UFOs, but he's still a really nice guy with decent ideas. So yeah, any thoughts, any feelings?
I definitely want some P22 memorabilia, and I'm just really excited for us to start selling our New Hampshire primary sluts t-shirt until a representative of New Hampshire tells us to please stop.
I think if we do that, we're gonna have to get it in the budget to go to St. Anselm in 2024.
I'm game. Wear the shirts.
I haven't even looked at who's going to be. Oh my God. Like Robert Kennedy Jr. is probably going to be at St. Anselm unless he considers it an insult to his prestige to go there.
They probably will.
But Vermin Supreme's probably going to be outside.
Boom.
It'll be a time if we can get there.
Yeah. All the big names.
Yeah. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. As I said, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're probably going to be having a lot more Gadfly Movie Night episodes as well, as I am, dealing with health stuff, but plenty of fun episodes on the horizon. Ideally, we'll start moving back into the far history as well. One huge episode's coming. I got to figure out how to do these multi-part series when we're doing Fortnite stuff, because I don't want to be talking about a single topic for 3 months. But
yeah, so true.
We'll figure it out when it comes. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Gadfly. 90s baseline. Falling away from me. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?